Good morning, I'm Nivareti Manu, and this is your morning news fix for Monday, 30th of March. In this update, division could be emerging within Cabinet about whether to proceed with the previously announced LNG import terminal in Taranaki. The government's expected to make decisions about the facility by the middle of the year. However, our newsroom understands multiple ministers privately admit high gas prices might see Cabinet walk away from the project. Most ministers accept recent strikes on gas fields in the Middle East will mean prices stay high beyond the end of the war. Energy Minister Simon Watt says the procurement process is ongoing and the government's closely monitoring the conflict's impacts on gas supply and prices. Some big decisions ahead for the government in its response to rising global fuel prices. The government's opened a public tip line seeking suggestions for regulatory changes that could be made to reduce the country's fuel use. It's also due to decide in the next 2 weeks which businesses could face fuel rationing if supply becomes an issue. Deputy Prime Minister David Seymour says right now the government is doing everything it can to maintain supply and avoid restrictions. He says the government is ultimately dealing with a situation it cannot control and can only adapt to. Only around half of current secondary students are following the government's cell phone in schools ban. A Ministry of Education message to school leaders notes the most common reason for rule breaking being contacting family. The Education Review Office is advising parents to back the ban and not contact their kids at school unless it's an emergency. It's also urging teachers to impose tougher rules, like taking phones away from students. Minister Erica Stanford says behaviour change takes time, but the phone ban supports learning and reduces bullying. The government inquiry into the fatal Toadanga landslides will begin considering evidence today. 6 people were killed when a landslide hit campers in Mount Maunganui, while 2 others were killed in a separate landslide at a Papamoa home during January's big storm. The inquiry will look into why the landslides occurred, whether relevant agencies could have warned and evacuated people, and how similar tragedies could be prevented in the future. The inquiry will deliver its final recommendations in December. Police investigations are continuing into a violent party in Auckland's Mount Albert on Friday night. 6 young people were injured and at least 1 has required surgery following reports of machetes, vicious assaults and a car being driven at partygoers. It's reported the home had been listed on a short-term booking site. Detective Senior Sergeant Anthony Darville says police understand the community frustration and they're working hard to get to the bottom of what happened. In sport, 19-year-old Kimi Antonelli is the youngest driver to lead a Formula One championship after winning the Japanese Grand Prix for Mercedes. Liam Lawson's finished 9th to earn 2 points. Kayla Reinecker has cleared the ropes off the last ball of the match from Susie Bates to guide South Africa to a 2-wicket victory over New Zealand in the first women's one-day cricket international of the 3-match series in Christchurch. The Gold Coast have beaten St George Illawarra 22-14 to wrap the 4th round of NRL League. I'm Nivareti Manu and that's your latest news fix. We'll be back with the next update at midday from the Newstalk ZB newsroom.